Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler review series videos I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that, time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie, they got my order right. Hooray! But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yammer on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. And folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight my super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, folks? What happens to be my my Stellar Circuit shirt, which is a very cool design. I always really like the design of the shirt. You can see it gets a fair amount of use. It's a little bit worn down, but it's still holding in there. But what's Stellar Circuits? Stellar Circuits, kind of a progressive metal band. If you want to like specifically put them into a particular subgenre, I actually asked the guitarist at one point in time, and he he was kind of like so. But really, really great band. They're out of North Carolina. I became aware of them through a Facebook ad a few years ago, and I ended up really liking their stuff. And then, like, just by cool happenstance, they ended up performing, nearby not too long after that. And subsequently, I've tried to be there every year when they've come through. They typically make their way around my neck of the woods once a year, and I love these guys. I think they're phenomenal people. I think they're phenomenal musicians. I like them so much. I have seen them a bunch of times. I actually have videos of those performances that are on the channel as well, just in case maybe you want to check those out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because I think they're an incredible band, and they're really cool guys, too. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Why did they get my order right? Well, they got my order right, presumably, because they know what they're doing, they paid attention, and they're good people. But I decided that I was going to go over there, and I was going to head on out to Buffalo Wild Wings, get myself an order, making use of their buy one, get one free deal that they have on Thursdays for boneless wings. And if you watch my channel, you've seen me review plenty of Buffalo Wild Wings stuff through this, particular deal that they have. And I always like to go over there, get a couple different flavors, get a couple reviews in. They had two new flavors that just came out. One was a Chipotle Maple, and the other one was Cajun. And the last time I did a review, they just gave me 20 of the Chipotle Maple. Yeah, so they fudged my review a little, or they fudged my order just a bit. But I double-checked before I left this time, and I got, boom! It's chicken wings. I got the Cajun, and this time I got the Asian Zing. Now, for this review, I'm just going to do the Cajun, because it's the new one. If you want to watch the Asian Zing one, I'll have that review up there as well. But let's go ahead. Let's get a thing for the thing here real quick. Okay, do it like that. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's try out some Cajun wings. Cajun wings. Okay. Kind of interesting. The the makeup of it, because typically when you got wings, you're applying some sort of sauce or seasoning. You either get like a dry rub or you get like a more sauce. With these, they're closer to a dry rub, but there's definitely some sauce on there. So I feel like they're seasoned, and then there's also a little bit of a sauce added, but it's not like super duper saucy. Okay. Got a little bit of like almost a citrusy or a lemony kind of thing going on to it. A little bit of heat. Kind of tickles the back of your throat, but nothing crazy. Definitely nicely seasoned. I do actually like the way that these are set up, though. I think that If this had been more of a saucy sauce, like, these wings are, I think it maybe would have been overdoing it. But with these being sort of like half in, half out, I think they're pretty nice. I like the level of flavor I'm getting without it going overboard. And then the chicken itself, if you've never been to Buffalo Wild Wings, their chicken is decent. Like, you can see, it's tender. It's typically good. Their wings themselves can be a little bit when it comes to size, and it can be a little bit hit or miss with that. But like, they're decent. I will say the exterior, there's no real crunchiness to it, which depending on the flavoring and stuff. But there's a little crunch here and there. I get what they're going for when they're talking about Cajun. Like, and mind you, I am by no stretch of the imagination am I a expert on Cajun food or anything like that. I live in Illinois. If you want to know about Illinois food, typically I can help you out. I actually really want to do like a Cajun review, but I gotta find a good Cajun place. All the places that are kind of by me, within sort of distance, their ratings aren't the best. So I kind of would prefer not to have that be that experience. I might have to go into the city to get something. But I'm certainly familiar with the taste of Cajun seasonings, at least as far as what we tend to get of them up north. And yeah, I mean, it's identifiable, but I also wouldn't say that it's the best representation of it. It definitely doesn't taste like just a straight Cajun seasoning. Because again, there's almost like there's a sharpness to it. And again, almost feels like a citrus hit or something. And it's almost like it's kind of like mildly sour. Not in a bad way. Like, it's actually nice with the flavor, but at least in my experience, that doesn't exactly translate to Cajun flavor. And it's kind of when that starts to dial down that you get more of that more recognizable Cajun kind of flavor, with the seasonings and stuff. And then that's also where the heat comes in. I will say, eating more than one of these in a row, the heat does build up a little bit. Kind of builds up in your mouth. Still not crazy spicy or anything, but could be potentially for some people. But no, I actually like these. These are nice. I'll do one more for posterity's sake. Definitely well seasoned. Got a little bit of a pepperiness to it. They're nice. I actually like those quite a bit. But 3 questions have to be asked. Would I get them again? Would I recommend them? Do I think they taste particularly Cajun-y? Yes, caveat. And so, for me personally, and again, not a Cajun food expert by any means, like I said, I would consider these Cajun, I guess, influenced. Like, there's definitely something there that's familiar. But again, it's my first immediate thought isn't Cajun when I first bite into it, because the first thing I get is, again, that sort of mildly sour kind of flavor. Again, almost like a citrus kind of deal. And that, because it's such a prominent aspect of it, yeah, eventually it does get to that point where you get those sort of Cajun style seasonings and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I get what you're going. But but here's the thing. If I'm taking the Cajun out of the equation, and I'm not trying to do that, but if I'm taking that out of the equation, strictly as a flavor, I actually do really like these. In fact, I thought that these would be kind of uninteresting. Not that Cajun food isn't interesting, of course, but again, it's something that, I've had some experience with, at least in terms of seasonings and stuff. And, usually when you want a new flavor, you want something a little bit wacky or experimental. I was kind of like, Cajun? Okay. But then they also put their own spin on the Cajun aspect of it, and, well, it's a little bit more interesting than I thought And overall, I do like it. It's a little unbalanced in terms of the flavor, and again, I don't think it's the greatest representation of Cajun seasonings or anything, but just as a flavor by itself, I do like it. Like, it's not overly done like some of their things are, and at the same time, it doesn't feel like they were trying to do too much with it. It seems like they had something of a goal in mind, and they decided to kind of go a little bit with their own version of it, but it's pretty good, and I do like it. Would I recommend it? Yes. Caveats. For one thing, does have a little bit of a kick to it if you're not into spiciness. It might eventually start to bug you a little bit, so you might want to, again, I don't think they're that spicy, but, for people who just aren't into that. The other thing is, if you're going into it with a palate that is well understanding of Cajun food, I don't think that this is going to be your jam. Doesn't mean you might not enjoy it, but, it would be like for me if they came out with, deep dish pizza flavored wings, which, come on now, let's make that happen. Obviously me going into that, being from Illinois, enjoying deep dish pizza, I would have very high standards for that. Yeah, you can see where I'm going with that. So, if you want like a real authentic Cajun style, it's not going to give you that, but I do think they're tasty wings. So, and I think they're a good flavor. 5 things before I get out of here, though. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of month, stupendous rest of your year, folks. Go over there yourselves a truly. I still have more wings to review after this tastic. Rest of your life. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your personal experience when it comes to Cajun food? Are you an expert on it? Is it something you've had and you don't like? Have you never had it, in any capacity? I'd be really interested to hear about that. Because like I said, it's one of those things where obviously it comes from, kind of a specific region of the United States. But because it's so good and because, it just works so well, it's spread throughout. But then, of course, you have, kind of the holy land of that place. And I do have a coworker who's actually been to that area and had the proper stuff. And he's like, doesn't compare to anything that, you're going to get up here. So one day, maybe. But anyway,